Hey, good morning. Let's talk about cowboys real quick. In the comment section of this video, many of you were calling it an erasure of vaquero history by saying cowboys were originally black. So, let's take a look at the word cowboy. As early as 1770, Louisiana required 2 enslaved Africans to manage 100 head of cattle. In the beginning, white ranchers were referred to as cow hands, while enslaved African men in the same position were called cowboys. Like the word yard boy and house boy, cowboy was a derogatory term used specifically for black men. Now, black cowboys were normally given angry wild horses that no one else could tame, but they tamed them, which later became known as horse breaking. Now, before the abolition of slavery, the cattle trade offered a high degree of freedom for enslaved Africans. They were issued guns for the first time and were able to simply be free for days, weeks, months, years at a time out in the open range, just free. They were even trusted to come back to their enslavers. And over time, the term cowboy became used for anybody in the cattle herding industry. White ranchers would even win competitions based on the cow handling skills of the Africans they enslaved. They were called rodeos. Now, the proto-rodeos of the 1820s and 30s in what used to be Mexico but is now the western United States is where vaqueros and cowboys would test their skills and work against one another. Now, vaquero is Spanish for cattle herder or cow handler. In English, it would be a cow handler or cow hand for short. The vaquero tradition in Mexico comes from the hacienda system of medieval Spain. Now, this system of cattle ranching spread throughout the Iberian Peninsula and was later brought to the Americas. Why? Well, both regions have dry climates and sparse grasses, and large herds of cattle need a lot of land to provide the food they need to survive, which also meant people had to cover a lot of land on foot. And if you got bad feet like me, you ain't going nowhere. So this gave rise to horseback-mounted vaqueros, while Spain was ruled by Arabs and the Moors. Now, the Moors heavily influenced the equestrian tradition in Spain. Even the horses they used, like the Andalusian or pure Spanish horse, the Barb coming from North Africa, or the Arabian horse coming from the Arabian Peninsula. They even influenced riding styles by using shorter stirrups, solid saddles, heavy nose bands, and the hackamore. Matter of fact, the hackamore can trace its roots back to ancient Persia. That's right. The Arabs and Persians were also heavily involved in the African slave trade. Isn't that right, Paul? It was Cortez and them that brought the vaquero tradition to the Americas, and it spread from Argentina to Canada and everywhere in between. Oh, the Irish did the first cattle drive on the East Coast, and on the West Coast, vaquero became buckaroo.